I'd like to introduce you to two poets who are Vancouver friends of mine. Their poetry is quite different, you'll discover. But from my own point of view, I owe both of them, in fact, a debt that is similar in both cases, though neither probably knows it. They've made me, in their own ways, rethink my own feelings about what ought to constitute poetry and poems. And in the case of Maxine Gad, this thinking went into a review which was then sent to the Far Point, which then folded. So you may never see that. And in the case of Andy Schroeder, found its way into a long tape harangue between the two of us on the subject of form in poetry, which I think is now in the Sir George Williams Library, where any of you can endure it if you wish to. At any rate, the first of these poets to read will be Maxine Gad. There'll be a 15-minute break, and then Andreas Schroeder will read. Maxine.
Oh boy, can you hear me? I don't know how much projection to do, eh? I don't know how much to talk about poetry. My connection is very loose to the mainstream, I guess, because I don't know. I'm just not socially related to what's going on. Maybe in the poets you're reading. I guess my identification is somewhat with a West Coast hippie trip, and between the country and the city, and the first feeling being, the desire for purity. When you're 17 or 18 years old and you figured the country life is it, and then later coming to realize the necessity of the communal life and the city. So I think that's the task I'm going to try and set myself right here. I'm going to read first of all the second well poem, which I did experienced in the country, living in the country. I remember the first well poem. I don't know where it's gone because it didn't get published. I disregarded its importance. I tended to take the judgment of editors and people who set themselves up as authorities, and that's why I'm here. I've kept close enough to them, I guess. I remember the first one thing went something like, wanting pure water, I went to the well, too wonderful. And there was something about the oracle as the bucket clacked. This is the second well poem. It was hauling up buckets of stars that did taste something between the moon and earth. At night, getting the water from the open well, peering into the hollow eye of this planet. By day, the snow rose inch by inch, raising me to the icy brink. A woman laughed. One slip and you'd drop head first, straight down, you'd never be able to turn around. Sweet life. I had a pump put over the damn thing, which is about where I feel right now. That's about where my connection to poetry is right now. Wonder if that one's around. I don't think it is. I guess I'll just take it as it comes. There's some scheme in this. I guess I got published by a cat named Bill Bissett, you might have heard, who did the thing, did the guru thing, the super energy thing of getting a lot of work done and getting a lot of people's work out, and a lot of his work out. A lot of it was real shit, but he got it out, and some of it worked and some of it didn't, but there was so much of it, that I'd like to have had that confidence, you know. I guess almost most people write poetry, they've got it all in their trunk, you know. They don't get it out, but I guess that's what it takes. But this is from one of his first really cheap magazines. It's typed, you know, pretty good typing. His typing got worse. I get very angry, he makes lots of mistakes. But he did a lot of drawings and things. Anybody wants to look at it, you know. I mean, he did it minimum, you know. He was living really poor. And a lot of people still read his stuff, so, I mean, to me he was a folk poet in that sense. A lot of people still read his stuff because he got the stuff out cheap, you know. Trip. So take this painfulness that you've chosen and pursue it where you thought before it would lead you. Where last night I dreamed, pursuing myself as a fawn, grinning like a Cadillac, the shining headlights like inverse stars, the windows of heaven. It was memory I wanted to pursue, and pursuing it left on another trip entirely. I am one of those who, green and blue, we ate dandelions kissing the cheese and spreading out into a desert. Factually, rabbit, we ate into another kind of wild sinecure. Father nuts and mama bun ate the oak wheat-wise. Honey in Saturn's time precluded work but meant stings. Wrist limp and watches the pain of his expressions flap. Stasis is neat and cavernous. Stasis and stasis, Cassis and Cassu, urns older than elders. Case the cosmos, said Dick Dog. Pause in front of an agnifying glass. Please, I ease into this use. It's a pool. It is deep, swart, intensely cold, coming up from the dentro del mundo, the rivers underground, this forest. Where to go from there? This one is to a poet who is in another world. Okay, he looks like a silver lizard, and he's very beautiful, and he knows all about the Greek trip and Eleusis, which is what one's talking about in the first poem. Okay, the oracles from under the ground, that belief you must start out with. It's called, and it's admiration, as well as a bit of terror. Robin has the horse in hand. In the silver woods, all those nightingales I take on faith make known the hollow fact of the beauty of instruments, body or bell that men tongue. The rows of iron filings drags the high-fidelity transistor honeybee with singular, discreet, and heavenly will, a heavenly pull, this planet's hunger. The charismatic journey of the sun, stuck with prongs. A new car called Fire Lord. A space in the woods where the calm flowers tower, and we know the moonlight dance of animals. And the friends feast in Norway. The giant watches with his eyes of sky, the cranes on the construction job, also imbued with mystery, being mute, blind, and moan. Half the friends are aerial by grace, blue columns of the harbor cross, delicate strength, bright blue of the hydrogen flame, the electric blue Buddha which gassed us all but nobody believed, presented by Leary, paper rose petals, and weary Jews sitting around me, sad at New York, jeering at a campaign, taking the field, accepting an unknown poem, committing yourself to a place that maybe you don't even want. I remember the bell some of us are to be, 1/2 inch diameter, crystal, if there is crystal. Leary, I should have mentioned, was Timothy Leary. I should have explained that before. Oh yeah, this is where I'm at now. I don't like it, okay? And it's probably not a good poem, but that's the kind of art form I'd like to have seen. Was a collective art form. Was what I yearned and hoped for. Poetry is what people write in rooms alone, and I don't like. That's what I was stuck with. And I worked for a while with a group in Vancouver we called it Intermedia, and I had the experience of working with a group. At one point there were 5 of us poets, you know, or what we call poets. And we'd go around to various places. We went to Edmonton one time. And we'd tried things. We tried chanting and wailing, you know, like, was it, who was that crazy old lady? Sitwell, Edith Sitwell, you know, remember her? And have you ever heard the sort of sing thing she used to do, you know? We tried that. And it really worked, you know, but you go around and you'd say, do you dig the poems? And they'd say, I can't hear them, but we really like your voice, you know? So, you know, left that, got a ache in the gut or something. Ratio, 0, middling eyes, fire into me now, so I can walk with the same ecstasy the supermarket aisles, and hie the hell home to beloved tormentor, sitting at home unemployed in the suburbs. Is there no more fertile spear than me, the loser in this game? Spear. One of the lion's ladies left behind to scratch, colored gods on rocks. Celebrate yourself, they say. They have made a home for you, honey-colored onyx and amber, white-coated opal, and here, on a stage above seasons, your meaningful dance, meaning and language alone, spoken for no one. By chance, it would seem you are overheard and glad to be buried higher into the agate air. The reason for music beyond all music I have never known, except known we need when the pit inside me dropped and I could hear the demons sob. I don't like it. I don't want to be there. Here's one from last year. Got into printing stuff myself, you know, and I did that. I wish, you can't see it, can you? Sort of. It was a mimeograph. It was real cheap, you know, and you could take images, you could take newspaper articles, you could take scraps of anything you saw that you dug, you know, put them together, and to me that was a form of concrete poetry. You can't, of course, I don't know, you know, you couldn't really say that one, or any number of them. This one is half said, okay. Behind it I put a map. I found a map of BC. And Minstrel Island was a map, was an island I found once when I was working on a ship as a mess girl on a freighter. Heading up to Minstrel Island, the Norwegian, what else could you call him? He was. Their flow wasn't sacred because they did it. All they knew was what they did. But the Norwegian dreamed there was a spiral way of finding anyone lost. A 40-year-old woman, very greasy. She's new and old, so I doubt her. Wanting a place here, green and even in the rain. My lover came down the pyramid under an umbrella. There's a connection here, no one knew what next. He had 4 or 5 boyfriends. His eyes were half closed. New Westminster, the docks were glowing, fading. New Westminster, the docks were glowing, fading. New Westminster, glowing, fading. The king of the salmon came up to me and gave me a chart of his spine. It was the forewoman, stubby, blonde as Monroe, hard-tied fantasy she held her man in. The bubbles burst, she told me. Sometimes I enjoy cleaning fish. When the hours go backwards in the roar up a canyon in my great-grandmother's mind. How she is standing out of paradise, the trail to the squaw roots with the salal, so hushed in cedarwood, and she knows the horror of where it's all leading to. Hand crack, general life. I got a copper star. It moved me. No, electric bus. He screamed. He's sick. He wailed across the bridge. I am not free. I am a sidewalk sandwich. Therefore can't say I can't. I'm going out now. Derivative, Vita Nova, right here. And where that ended up was just over the name Bellacoola, which is sort of where they do canned fish. There's no escape though, you know. And so then I want to read about Kitsilano, where most of I happened, you know, I grew up. Kitsilano is a sort of slum district of Vancouver, and it's disintegrating, and you probably all experienced this, you know, being city people. you know, they're bulldozing the places. There's no more cheap places to live. And so your friends, you know, you can't live there anymore. Your friends can't live there anymore. So whatever you had, which is sometimes very heavy, you know, community is really beautiful, you know. Used to go over and play music with my friends. We had to move out, you know, because the city is being destroyed, and only the people who are well-to-do, who have some sort of stake in the city, you know, that who are supporting the structure can stay. And this poem is about somebody who I met one day on the street, you know, and her story, she's sort of sick, just on the street, everything's falling to pieces. Be people, the earth is so weary of our race, dying on the sidewalks, holding up the purple flag, young thug falling into the sun. There is news, but we are no use. There is beauty of blood in the basin. Horror corrals us. Grasp the wrist of the terrified child that tells you tales to which there is no remedy. Jail, coldness between lovers. While the sun pours down, the sleek black birds pick perpetual grubs. Grub, honey, hike, hail. Here comes the helicopter. Someone up there loves to hunt us. How long I've resisted desiring everything that breathes. What sweetness is there, poor people, the honey you are not. Thin feet, nothing to fail at. Here in the horror, your copper fire hair. Breathe. Here in the horror, your copper fire here. Here my fire, here your copper. Here, wealth of the wind. Plastic foam drifting down the street. Here your copper, here a hall of horror, hall of wind. Copper fire in the wild foam. Thin feet, nothing to fail at. Fall of horror, here the wind, the fire, the thin feet. Who's singing out there? But here on the next street, you know, I ran into a friend of mine. Her name's Martina. And, you know, we're about the same age, and we've been through a lot of scenes. And we've been through some bad things, you know, lots of rejections and refusal. No, there's no food now, you can't have any, go away, you know, fighting over somebody or other. Martina says, geez, we're not 16 anymore. Burning up like that cypress tree in the oxygen just overhead and heading downtown to take up the libraries of every man into the softly landing old age we will have to walk around in, talk from. What I don't say is doubt of my dreams, who wants to live with you? The wife is wiped out, big, wet, bad joke. The master elects other visions in his poverty. We aren't to believe how painful it is for anyone. This knowledge, no use. Shut your mouth. Maybe things will change. Hold rifle still and find one of the embodiments in the air to manifest implosion. Limiting your world in the old patterns do anyone in till your dead impossible conditions demanded. Live without hope and hunger for love. So now I'm down off lightning. I thought everything that night I floated over the hills and through the houses transformed. If you avoid the bastards, you die fairly slowly, depending what rich illusions fill you with false amber, or flame you as a saint, saint, saint. And you cannot take Adonis. Try and cry as you will with all your might-bees, your has-beens. Sweeten the old girl with will-bees. Honey, honey, have we killed the bees? Till his slim neck grows thick as bull, and he barge in, ah, roar, and fuck all you do in that pen. The master bar the gate, you make it. That's old ladies. Okay, but that's not entirely true. I got involved into all that magic stuff, you know, the Sufis, and into politics, and like this summer we hope we're going to start some sort of women's center back where I live, you know.